Morning, everyone. It's E here with 25K trading. Uh, so it's a pretty good day here on the short. Yesterday we had that little pop up to the upside, which faded pretty much all day. It's pretty much looking very good, like our ABCD retracement to the upside for our bear market has finally ended at a C point. And that was I'm pretty happy that I was able to make that prediction. And now we're on the fifth wave and the last wave down. So I'm gonna get my stuff ready here, and guys, come trickling in or start talking to you guys here on the chat. Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Leo? How you doing? I see that you were in the Discord channel earlier. Um, so how was that trade that turned out? And look, we're making a new low here, right? So I have this head and shoulders pattern here. Um, I'm looking at the 5 minute because it's a little bit faster movement than the 1 hour. But let me just zoom this out. Head and shoulders pattern. We had the retracement this morning. Look at that. And my target around here is 180. How did I get 180? I essentially just measured this. Oh, fuck that. Measured this move from here, here. Measure that move from here to here, and we get 180. This is target. And I think there might be the high chance that the market collapses here in the last hour and we close the market early. I think there's a significant chance of that happening. So I think the wave five is going to end pretty low here. But my friend asked me, um, you know, 1 second, guys. I'm just messing with something really quick. All right, okay, I'm back. Yeah, so it's dropping straight down to target. So I'm just watching the 1 hour close here. We have 1 hour left in the market. And I mean, we made a new low here in the last 5 minutes, so I'm thinking this goes down low. I'm also thinking I just shot it out there on Stock Twits earlier today. I said if anyone really thinks we might have a market, market close due to circuit breakers. Now, I don't know exactly what time it is. I think it's 3:30. That's usually when, um, they close the market. Is it before 3:30 or after 3? I'm a little confused. I don't remember. But that's usually around where, um um, I think when the market drops, they'll close the market for the rest of the day, 3:30. Wanna double check that time frame, but I believe that it is. So if we hit that 6%, or was it, dude, these see, the thing with the limits is that the futures limits are different from the NYC limits, right? NYSE limits. I think it's around 8 for the NYSE. And the thing is, I dropped it. I mean, I just looked at it recently. Oh, okay. They won't close trading unless it's a second level drop. I'm just double checking this. 10, 20, and 30 for the Dow Jones. I know it's 5% for futures. Interesting. Everyone has their own little stop loss circuit breaker. So it's kind of funny to see the futures limit being hit to the upside. Maybe a couple nights ago, I think, maybe a couple nights ago, where it hit a 5% limit to the upside. And now we almost hit the 5% limit to the downside, but I remember going to bed and that limit not being hit. Um, so, anyways, I thought they would have closed the market, but apparently it's more within the lines of, um, keeping on letting the market run. But again, that was just the Dow Jones I was looking at. I wasn't looking at the NYSE numbers, and it was definitely not 10 and 20. So I'm not sure what article I was reading or what guideline I was reading, but let me double check here because I want to make sure. 7. Okay, it's 7 for the S&P 500 or NYSE. And let's see if they are broken after 3 o'clock. I just want to make sure it's either 3:30 or 3. What's up, guys? How's quarantine for you guys today? Same old same. I'm going crazy once again. Like the stock trading has only aggravated uh my craziness. But hey, I want to tell you guys a story that I heard. So this guy named Dave. He owns Barstool Sports. I don't remember his last name, but I was looking on Twitter today, and he put he put a 2.5 double leverage, so 2.5 cash secured, double margin on that. So he's at 5 million, 5 million long on Boeing at 139 this morning, and he was actually live streaming it. And last last of my knowledge, he's no longer live streaming it. So I thought that was pretty funny because he was getting fucked. And I don't understand why people, especially people that are not traders, this guy's a journalist, right, and a business person, and he does a lot in sports. Um, so a 5 million bet on Boeing at 139. Hmm. he's obviously in a lot of pain right now. Um, Given that he turned off the stream, and I would never do that. I'm just gonna say that, like, why would you buy that? Like, Boeing's a horrible company. At this point, I think we can all say Boeing is no longer, it's a coal miner. It used to be really cool, and now it's just kind of like existing. John says, "What level is 180? What happens?" Well, let me give you the bigger look. So the target right now is 180 based on the flag. From there, we continue down. Now, John, I can't promise we'll go all the way to 5 to a lower low. I just know that if we go to the lower low, I am buying every single dip after we if we breach this level 3, I'm buying every single dip because I am no longer going to be afraid of any more downside because that's that's essentially I'm going to carry that risk towards the next 8 years. And I think this drop can get, holy shit, it's falling still. Can go farther and faster downwards. I'm hoping to see around mid-April. Um, Around peak cases for the US. And actually, I've been looking at the estimates. We're actually, there was a prediction of 80,000 deaths in the US. We are actually gaining more traction. That number is going to go up. That the health model that I saw is too conservative. And the real numbers that were coming out in terms of deaths were actually much greater than the estimated totals. And I'll send you guys that link right now here in the chat. And I want you guys to know if you have any one source, Dave Portnoy, yeah, Portnoy, whatever his name is from Barstool, yeah. You got exactly right, Mike. I was shit talking all day on Twitter because I was bored. Um, but let me throw you guys that link real quick to what they are predicting as peak stuff. It's actually pretty interesting of a link. Let me just get. So I've been using that link, guys, um, to pretty much track the projections. I don't really care about the daily cases. I mean, you can use the John Hopkins thing, right, and track it. There's a lot of different places that will report on the daily number. Uh, but that's going to be my indicator for when we peak, because I believe they have a pretty good projection here. It's one of the better ones I've seen. It's not like crazy, like 3 million deaths conservative. It's not like, oh, be miraculously disappeared by tomorrow. It's going to be like it's actually a pretty good one. It also measures hospital beds too as well, so we can kind of see where we're at in terms of how many people are in the hospitals, and obviously people that won't be able to get hospitalization will unfortunately and likely pass if they need it. And right now, I read an article in New York City right now. They are triaging like they did in Italy 2 weeks ago, where they're simply just selecting people. Um, John, that's what I think. Because at the most amount of fear, the most amount of deaths, the peak, fucking scam callers everywhere. Oh my god, I'm sorry about that. Because at the peak of deaths, the peak of cases is where we'll have the fear selling back in the market. The fear, 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 right? Um, and also that peak it's coincidentally the same date of Easter, April 14th, whatever. I don't know the date for Easter, but I'm assuming Easter, so somewhere around there. Um, I'm thinking that Nancy Pelosi sticks with her guns, right, and says no stimulus talk until Easter, and she's going to bring the market down. And Obviously, the Fed is not trying to make the market. Uh, the Fed essentially is not trying to make the market die overnight, right? They're still expecting downside with the Fed. They just are doing whatever financial manipulation to slow that down, right? So I think when we peak in April, essentially the Fed has fully cushioned because you're not gonna like do Fed operations and have that done after a week, right? This is a long recovery process, right? So I think when we get to that new low, it would be like it's an impulse trade, right? It's another fear trade. Um, when you're hearing 2.5 Americans dying per day, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. And I think at that time, right, horrible news is good news in stock trading. We'll buy because at that time, a new stimulus bill will come out. We'll have stimulus bill number two, three, four, whatever, right? So at that point of time, I'm thinking, how do I estimate time if uh, uh, I don't know what's gonna happen here. I just know it's going this direction. Well, we can essentially I essentially pointed 2 numbers. Nancy Pelosi literally saying, "Hey, guys, we're not gonna meet for another bill until after Easter. We just did this 2 trillion stimulus bill, right? We're not meeting." Right? We have that coupled along with this coronavirus map I've showed you guys in chat that shows that we peak in mid-April. So those things combined together says next stimulus bill is probably going to be the last stimulus bill and probably going to be the actual low that we'll have. Now, this is based on this assumption we're in the five wave. And this five wave is going to create a lower low than what the end of the three wave gave, right? We're essentially saying like we think a new five. It depends on your count too as well. I think this five wave won't be significantly lower than the end of the three wave. I don't think the new low is gonna be like 20% lower than the previous low. If it comes to that point and I have to make adjustments, I will. But I think it's just gonna be right before the 50% retrace and right after that previous low. So I don't, 6K Nasdaq is it's a pretty lofty goal, right? So anywhere we come close to the 50% retraces, I'm probably gonna switch from the Nasdaq because the Nasdaq's being a little weird, as in it's literally the one that's not falling because of people are assuming tech doesn't, tech is less affected by 1 percentage point. Whatever, doesn't matter. But I'm gonna see where the S&P 500 goes to that 50%. And the moment, the day that we come even close to it, I am a buyer. I am a buy, buy, buy. I don't even care if it's catching daggers. I'm unleveraged. I have full in cash, right? I'm shorting just a little bit using my cash, but I'm already locked and loaded for the long. What I want is that long. I want those shares on discount, right? So at that point, I'm just going to start finding individual stocks and going hard into QQ, SPY, and IWM. I am not going to go into the Dow. The Dow to me is like a dead thing. You have components of the Dow which are made of dead companies, which I really don't like how the Dow's weighted either. So I'm not going to go in the Dow. Um, that is my plan. Play the indexes or certain industries. Um, Indexes. If if we're all trading as one man teams here, unless I don't know if someone's listening from a hedge fund. I don't know. I think the indexes are the easiest. Obviously, a Boeing at 90 and a pop to 180 is 100% gain. That's why I'm looking for individual equities too. It's not going to be just indexes and equities. It's going to be a combination of both. And I'm going to look for really shitty stocks like Uber, right? Doesn't fucking make money. It's getting pounded, right? I want Uber because Uber's a big name. I want Snapchat. I want Twitter. I want all these. I want all these technology-based stocks. Um, that don't make money because that's the future. We're in this future where if you don't make money, it's okay as long as you have enough users using your app because we'll find a way to make money later, right? So I don't really care. These apps all have a lot of users, are still gaining users, becoming more and more popular. I'm going for beat down stocks. I'm not gonna buy like Carnival Cruise Line, right? I'm not buying fucking Carnival Cruise Line. What I'm not buying is like MetLife or Boeing. I'm not buying these companies that have essentially cratered because of of the risk. They may be good swing trades, yes. I don't doubt that these small individual stocks are good at swing trades. But I just want to note the market is like literally falling into the ground as I talk. But um, where was I? I want to find these little companies that I can buy on discount, which I can hold for a good significant amount of time. Because again, fundamentals don't matter anymore. Just know this: when we can create money out of thin air and say PE 15 sounds good to me, PE 10 sounds good to me, PE 20 sounds good to me, right? Um, Fundamentals, money doesn't matter. It's just how much clout you have, how much people are talking about you, right? If they're talking about you in a negative way, your stock's gonna die. But if they're talking to you, just generate news buzz. Any new thing that happens is gonna propel it to higher highs. For example, Uber. I don't know why, but I look at Uber at $20. I'm like fucking in there. $20 at Uber. I'm fucking in there. Like I'm looking for those discounts to be coming. And if I see the market like make a new low and I see Uber not at their lows, right? I'm in Uber. Like that's a no-brainer. I'm gonna look for more of these smaller stock. Like for example, Costco for some reason, it's a great fucking stock. Well, I don't know. I know it's great. Like it's great, giving me great returns. I'm fucking in Costco too, right? I'm picking out these small little, well, not small. I'm picking up individual equities along with a significant amount of SPY and QQ. That gives me a little less, I guess, pressure on needing to spread more equity because I can do big purchases in QQQ and SPY, no problem, right? It's the index. It's not gonna blow me out the next day unless I'm doing leverages, right? Which I'm not. This is just a long term, portfolio, the wealth portfolio. Yep, 185. I don't think that's gonna be filled. Try to fill it. That's why in the chat, um, this morning, I don't know if you guys were on Discord. I mentioned also on StockTwits that it pretty much just retraced to that 50%, right? So the morning retrace, right? So that was the intraday short. If you could pick up an intraday short, but I'm really curious on everyone's at home, right? Anyone that has pretty much an office job is probably working at home at this point of the coronavirus. Work job life experience, and um, if you're watching this on TV, I expect more selling. Like if I'm not a stock trader and I have nothing to do, right? I still have 401k invested. I'm gonna be selling here in the day. I'm like, oh, the market has gone up quite a bit off that bounce. Well, the market go down twice, you're gonna sell. Um, and I think that's gonna continue. I think we're just getting slammed into the close. Like, there's really no other thing for me to predict here today. I do not think there's going to be a reversal here in the hour. I think this is going to be like a typical bull day. When I streamed 2 weeks ago, where I said this is just going to go straight, straight, straight up, and I really don't think that's going to be the difference here. We're going to go straight down. We're probably going to make the low of day at close. Like no joke, this is pretty bearish action. Every single rally has completely failed. Right? Usually we would have had the reversal intraday already, right? Or we have coiled, just pivoting the opening minute, coming back down to the support levels, and then coming back to where we opened, right? We saw that today already, right? We went up, hit that 50%, pivoted back down, right? Created a new low, and then from that new low, guess what we did? Pivoted to the fucking opening minute, and then we're down from there. So I don't think we're gonna pivot again. I just think we're gonna go down. And I saw that Florida has finally conducted um, their stay at home kind of orders, right? And to me, that is kind of very irresponsible. Why? Because you're Florida, right? You know that you house a lot of people that are retirement age. You also know that a large portion of your people live between the up the northeast in Florida, right? Almost anyone that has second home that's not the shore in Jersey, it probably has a home in Florida if you're at that point of your life, right? So that flow of traffic, in my opinion, from the Northeast to Florida, that needs to be shut down. And like that wasn't shut down, and they didn't even stay at home ordered. So like Florida is going to be another hot point. Like after we get over with New York City, the whole South pretty much is going to be infested. Like Florida, um, like I think Arizona still hasn't had a stay-at-home order, or Texas either, right? That's that to me is just completely ridiculous and irresponsible, in my opinion. Completely irresponsible. But I want to show you guys my ABCD count again, right? Now, I have an alternate graph. What does the alternate graph say? The alternate graph says this, that we actually bounce from here and go straight to heaven. That's my alternative graph, right? Because I'm thinking that this is the start of a 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside wave. And this is essentially we're in the midst of wave 2, right? That's my that's essentially my fucking second plan B. We have a bounce from here and it's a significant bounce. I got to measure everything again. If it's a significant bounce to the upside, then I'm probably gonna ditch my shorts and not even ditch my shorts and literally watch to see what it does as it go upwards, because I do not wanna go long. During this panic, I do not wanna go long. Panic buying, panic selling, I'm not doing either. I'm just doing what the trend is telling me right now, and that's down. And after I look at the previous years, like in 2019, this feels more like a 26 the second half of 2016, where we dipped twice and then we went back to the normal. We went back to the all-time highs. I think it's gonna be like 2016, but instead of it doing it twice like that, we're just gonna have the whole year be one of that series. I'm gonna show you what I mean by going backwards in time, right? So notice how in 2016, 2015, you have this kind of double dip, right? Double dip to the downside and then rips back up to the upside. So if I can isolate something like this, I think what we're experiencing is something more along these lines. And I think this is all gonna take within a year, minus this chunk, right? I think we essentially just go straight into like the return of the trend. Um, so let me recircle this, right? This is the kind of V-shaped bottom I'm looking for, and we're essentially like somewhere around here, right? Don't I want to say that to take it 100% correct, but that's what I'm thinking it's going to turn out like. We get the W-shaped recovery, and we just immediately spring back to where the highs are, as if the earnings for Q2 and Q3 and Q4 probably won't matter. Yeah, so Coach Tryland, what's up? So, um, I agree Florida should have been locked down before spring break. However, even in states like where I am now, California, in California, we didn't even lock down the beaches till last week. So you give people a certain amount of freedom, um, but a lot of people are taking advantage of that freedom, right? They're like, I have nothing to do, might as well go to the park or to the beach, right? It's not like spring break where it's like aggressive, like, hey, I'm going to the beach, I'm taking this flight, right? Um, John, did you hear the story that a cat tested positive? I think it was a dog in Belgium, a cat in the UK tested positive for the coronavirus today. I think they're finding out more and more animals are being tested for this virus. However, they have not confirmed whether the animal can give it to a human, right? So animal to human, maybe human to animal. I actually have no idea how the animal would get it, and I didn't really read the article in depth. But I'm assuming the animal is probably, like, licking the toilet bowl or something like that, gets the coronavirus, but for that coronavirus to get onto us as a human from the animal, I don't know. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, so maybe everything I just said is bullshit, but I do know dogs and cats are testing positive for the coronavirus. Oh, look, new lows. Whoop-de-doo, everyone just jumping out the window here. Here, we have 4 minutes until the margin call, and we have approximately 20 minutes until, the fund rebalancing, and, yesterday was the fund rebalancing at the end of the day. Um, they wanted to pop it up, try to keep it up as high as possible so their losses look as small as possible, right? Also manipulation. So do you guys have anything you want me to look at? Any stocks or something that maybe I can give my insight on? Are you loading up at the end of wave five? Dry powder if it goes lower. Yes, it's gonna be. I'm gonna do everything in stages. And as we get closer to this wave five close, I will have posted equities and I mean index is easy. I post index charts all the time, but for equities, I'm gonna have to probably look through which ones I want to buy, what prices. I do have a few. I already know I'm buying Uber $20 or below. I'm buying Snapchat probably around $8. Um, those are the only two I've really looked at. But I might also buy back into XOP, which has fucked me. Um, Pretty much the only two losers I've had were my oil index longs, and I actually am incredibly not happy because I had the opportunity to close those, and instead I just decided to wait to see what happened to oil, and it was unfortunately the worst mistake in my portfolio, but thankfully, very small weight compared to everything else. Damn, I just see this thing dropping lower and lower. 181, 81. Right? We're just 2 points to that, 2 price points to that target, 180. When it gets there, I might close, but we're at such low of the day today that I'm probably not gonna close any shorts, and honestly, I don't even care if there's a bounce overnight. The only bounce that can come is politics. That's the only way a bounce can come, or if the Saudis nuke Iran or something. I don't know, but something dramatic has to come along for it to pop it back to where I shorted from yesterday on that initial pop. Uh, and I'm holding that short because I worked really hard for it. Because I've lost what, like 2, 3 trades in a row trying to get that short where it just keeps coming down and ripping back up. Um, I got my fucking claws into this fucker. I'm letting this ride, and I am 100% right now thinking my Elliott wave pattern is the correct pattern. A lot of people actually said that my three wave is their five wave. And I don't know if you guys remember one of my few podcasts ago, I said, "What if this is not the end of three wave? What if this is the continuation of three wave and that the fifth wave has not even hit us yet?" That's what I asked myself because I look at all the criteria in front of me, all the facts, all the sets of data. I'm saying to myself, as a fundamentalist, do I believe, the coronavirus is just one earnings period here and there. And I absolutely do not believe in that. I absolutely do not believe in the one earnings, it comes back real quick. This is going to be a lasting effect. It's going to change how we behave, how everyone behaves. Wearing masks is probably going to be something that, not just, Asians, but, people around the world are going to wear on basis that when I'm sick, I'm going to wear this out and not be afraid. Because I think the fact that, you don't wanna get anyone else. That's pretty much it. I would feel horrible if I, went back home to Philadelphia and got my mother and father sick. Um, so that's why one reason it's like I don't even wanna meet any friends. I'm just at home watching TV. I got fucking so many electronics to play with. I'm okay. We're looking at TNA for the end of wave 5. So let's go to bonds real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, small caps. So this is my chart for small caps. Um, 1 hour IWM. I think small caps. So I think I'm gonna put maybe 5 to 10% of my capital into small caps after this is over. So, a large portion of a very risky kind of some equity, right? A very risky equity to hold, uh, small caps. Um, but I think even if you look at the daily for small caps, we almost hit the lows of 2016. This thing has been beaten and battered. But like even if you do a measurement on this flag, essentially they're saying 170, was it 170 to 100 or 195, 570, right? Like you're estimating what? You're like the estimate on this is what to 40? Like if I'm gonna measure this right now, essentially IWM can drop as low as 40, dude. And 40 is pretty damn low. Like I'm fucking loading up on IWM when that fucker goes to 40. Now I'm not saying it could go to 40, Coach Trilam. But that's where this measured move comes from, right? And I can show you right now why measured moves are pretty cool. This is all tracked by computers, right? We have this bear flag here, and then we have the bear flag break right here. So you notice how I love these measurements. I love these measurements. So I'm essentially taking where it dropped, the low, and then where it pivoted and dropped from there. Theoretically, I could probably put this over here on the left again, and it's not exactly lining up, but it still gives a good idea of where the measurement should go. Right, so that's a scary fucking chart to look at. IWM going to 40. And the thing is, America is number one. America's number one in the world. So if it affects us this greatly, imagine what it's going to affect to small caps, mid caps, emerging markets. Those are all going to get slammed. And that's why I'm gonna be heavily focused on Nasdaq. I think Nasdaq will continue to be leader, continue to lead S&P 500. I think S&P 500 will be slow, like what the Dow was in the last few years. But the Nasdaq is going to be the only index I really want to focus on. I will have a good diversity of SPY too as well, but there's going to be no Dow in there too as well. Small caps going to be the risky part of my portfolio. Small caps and emerging markets. So I don't know if that answered your question about IWM for the Russell. Right? I get the question right. You were looking at the Russell, right? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I think I'm gonna let this short ride. I really don't fear anything. This looks like more of a landslide to the downside more than there's literally no bull resistance other than the shorts that covered this morning, which acted like false bulls, right? For example, in a bull market, we can go ahead and say, "Hey, in a bull market, they're gonna purposely accumulate shorts just to blow them out the water to go higher, right? So in a bear market, we're gonna say we can accumulate longs just to stop them out to go lower. And I think what last week was, this is pure pump and dump, right? Trump doesn't care about the average citizen. We already know this. This is psychological analysis 101. He doesn't really care about the worker. He cares about making himself look good and making his friends money, right? Last week's pop was for someone like Bill Ackman to make money. But as I said to everyone, Bill Ackman is horrible going long. He's short all his positions, right? Look at Marriott today. It's getting crushed, right? He's probably dumped those positions. Like, I don't understand why Ackman's go long Marriott. That's like the stupidest thing I've heard in my life. Like, you sure we're at the bottom, but like Marriott, hey, coach, again, I'm not trying to freak you out, but I just did a quick measurement on that, and I think it's going down to 40s. Again, I'm backing this up using fundamentals along with the technical analysis. It's that America is number one, large caps are number one, small to medium businesses are not considered as cool as the large caps in America, and emerging markets are definitely not considered as cool. Yeah, like a 2 trillion stimulus package, like what the fuck, right? Like that's a lot of money. So as we come here into close, as I predicted, we're just dropping in to hell, unfortunately for bulls. But I do think the pain, if you're having a large 401k and you're more of the guy who says, hey, you know what? I don't care about what happens the next 3 or 6 months. I just know 1 or 2 years from now, we'll be back in the highs. And I agree with that statement. 1 or 2 years, we'll be back in the highs. We could be there within a year. Um, but I'm a bargain hunter, and that's why I'm buying actively trading here. Otherwise, I would have just held through like the trade war. But this is slightly different than the trade war because this can potentially go in a really bad direction, as in the coronavirus case, or if it evolves or something like that. I don't know. It could potentially become a horrible issue. It looks like we're approaching that 180 target. 180 is that measured move that I had. So once again, um, this is the measure. What this line is. 180 is that target. And this is essentially the basics of what how algorithm does, right? I would just, as a human, I literally have to make these measure this line, copy and paste it over. Measure this line, copy and paste it over. Measure this line, copy and paste it, right? I have to do this continuously every single time, every single minute, every single 5 minutes, every single 1 hour something is printed. I continuously copy, measure this range, V, control V, paste it over here and see what our next set of ranges is. It's what the computer does. The computer does this constantly, running thousands and thousands of equations through its fucking CPU of mind. I don't know. I'm not techie either like that, but that's what I imagine. Like it's just running these measures constantly, finding the right one. Right? I can do that. Uh, just not that fast. So I am constantly adjusting these measured moves. Thanks, RW. Do I know any books on cloning? Uh, Raji, cloning is something I developed, and you may be able to find what other people have done in terms of clones online. Um, but um, yeah, I mean, like you, I developed cloning, so yeah, there won't be any books on it. RW, that's sweet. What did you trade? What trade futures? I'm assuming Nasdaq. John, what any opinions on major banks? So as you know, banks suffer from low interest rates. So uh, I don't know. I don't know about major. I think major banks you would have to look at the big ones: Bank of America, JPMC, um, even something like a distressed large bank, right? Wells Fargo has gone through some shitty things. They have the potential to be a bigger gainer in the future, right? So I'm not exactly sure of banks to what to long. I would more or less just look at the XLF. The thing with JPM is that Jamie Dimon just had surgery, right? I saw a post on Stock Twits I think just yesterday, and it said usually when the stock insiders purchase usually at the bottoms. Back in 2016 when the market's dumped. I remember Jamie Dimon actually was working. I actually saw I was working for JPM in 2016, 2015 around there, and he actually came over to our office um, um, in that time. But anyways, that's just me bragging that I saw Jamie Dimon. And he's actually a pretty cool dude in his speeches in person. But anyways, he bought extreme amount of insider shares. That's he literally calls the bottom. I remember distinctly. I think Jamie Dimon put in the bottom in like 2016. And if only if he was healthy right now, I wonder how much he would have bought. Because if you have seen JPM's report recently, they were very bullish. JP Morgan Chase was very bullish. And then you have Goldman Sachs say, whoa, 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 JPM, we do agree with you, but we think we're going to get even lower, right? JP Morgan Chase was just like, buy, 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 right? But Jamie Dimon currently is recovering from heart surgery, so unfortunately, he did not have the pleasure of partaking in this in last week's pump and dump. And I just want to tell you guys, a 5 minute analysis. That means analysis on a 5 minute chart is only as good as a 5 minute. Right? It can come and go real fast. Better analysis is on 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour daily. A lot of my charts actually start at the weekly level and move from daily level, and then using the monthly. Right? I only entered back in when I saw the monthly candles print, and that was a pure indication of a reversal. Uh, and yesterday we had the we had the rejection from the upside, recreated that shooting star reversal. And if you guys remember how I trade, there's only three patterns I trade off. Actually, three candles. I trade off the hammer candle, the star candle, and also this high spin doji. And those are the only three candles. The KISS, the keep it simple stupid method. Those are the only three candles I ever use. High spin, which is essentially long wicks to the up and down side with a small thin body. A reversal star, which is essentially long wicks to the upside and a smaller body than that wick, and then the opposite of that, a hammer. But I've noticed recently that strategy has been failing. So unless there is a double confirmation, aka a two-star reversal or a two hammer reversal, I would not take that first as a signal, right? So if the first signal prints, I see a daily on the reversal, right? I will say to myself, okay, there are bears fighting this. There is a rejection from upside, and then I'll wait. I'll wait till the next candle goes up because likely the market is going to take that out because everyone knows that that's a reversal candle. I'm predicting the next the candle before it even prints, and if I think that candle is gonna blow that candle out the water, I'm essentially gonna ignore it and just move on. But essentially, we need to have 2 rapid hammer candles come in. Oh, look, it popped from the lows. Alright, and the buyer's gone. No. Let me see what's going on here. That was a big pop. This could be just the fund rebalancing. 12:45, right on time. Yep, jobs number this Friday. It's payroll numbers. Payroll numbers, mucho importante. Um, very important. And also unemployment. I mean, I'm sorry, unemployment on Thursday is not important. Friday, payrolls, non-farm payrolls, NFP, and also unemployment percent. Yeah, I think Warren Buffett. Yeah, Warren Buffett's really not. Did he get crushed on Delta? I think Warren Buffett got crushed in Delta, and he's not showing his face. But I do think he has some health problems too, if I do remember too. So as this quarantine progresses, we're all gonna be here for the fucking June, right? I'm gonna have my boys hop into the mic, and we're all gonna have this Discord going on. But unfortunately, I'm getting my audio equipment shipped to me in Los Angeles because I was gonna fly to Philadelphia to go pick it up and realize that was a horrible idea. Um, I'm having a lot of my stuff shipped to me right now. So hopefully, I'll have better just another computer that has Windows on it, so I can stream this. Because or find a new encoder, a video encoder. Uh, so there, it looks like there's covering here, buying, whatever you want to call it, and I'm looking at volume here. Right, the only reason why I activated volume because I'm super curious about the opening 1 hour, and actually the opening pretty much half hour and the close half hour. Right, these huge volume spikes. I've noticed, as everyone has noticed, the volume has pretty much gone. Right, there's no volume. It's just getting ping ponged. But the range of the ping pong is so extreme that like a 4% move. Holy shit! What just happened? Covering a lot of buying. Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Hmm. Very interesting. Something must have happened. I am looking online as we speak. I mean, I don't see any news here, guys. So that's literally a fucking. That's a pop. Donald Trump something said something. My Twitter fingers are twitting as fast as they can. Yeah, the first thing is like, what did Donald Trump say? He didn't say anything. Okay, I think we're good. I think that's just honestly. Look at that shit. Like this is crazy. Like like imagine if you're a futures trader, right? you're working on a small if you're a small 5,000, $10,000 account and you're like, let me just go ahead and short one future here." And then, you're doing good, you're making money, right? You're doing good. And boom, like within fucking like if you had no stop loss, within 5 seconds your account is just blown up, right? Like, and they're like, "Oh my god, I gotta switch. I gotta switch. I gotta go long," right? And then you switch long and you get chopped. You get your account absolutely chopped by this nonsense fucking action. The reason why it does this is just to fuck with people. Like, honestly, like, I've concluded prices act like this is not because of arbitrage or free market. It's just to fuck with you. It's literally to fuck with you and fuck with everyone. Because if I was a computer reading this, this would be nonsense to me. If I was a computer. But to a human, as I see this, it's the same thing like when you're playing with real money in poker versus little chips. It's very different. So I kind of apply the same psychology. Like this pop might not seem big because the computer's like, oh, the range is big, so this pop, whatever. Let me proportion this, right, right. But to me, as a trader, if I were to be leveraged, right, that's like kind of alarming, right? Like, so it looks like we have a heavy um I mean, these are the battle of the big market makers, right? There's probably literally 2 market makers, fighting right now, or there's probably it's definitely more than just 2. Probably multiple market makers fighting right now, right? You can see the reaction, the such quick adjustments, back to the norms as soon as that big green candle came, right? Within 2, 3 minutes, we had immediate sell side action happen, right? Like, no fear selling into that as a big fund. Right, so I thought we would close into the end of the day, close at a low at the end of the day. Unfortunately, I was wrong. There are a significant amount of buys and covering, occurring that we're now off the low. That's the only reason why we're down there is because 'cause we're off the lows, and I do not think this is like a reversal. This is I don't think it's gonna reverse tomorrow. I do not think we're gonna do what we did last week and just, like, literally gap up 5% the next day, right? Like, the stuff happening last week, that's not gonna happen anymore. That was last week. The stimulus bill is signed and done. We don't have no discussion, no afterthought. There's like nothing you can argue to say, hey, we had news to cause this cause it pop. Stimulus bill once again, completely done. So I think I'm gonna take a good look at emerging markets. So, coach, I'm gonna look at emerging markets a little bit more. I'm gonna see what the past behavior was. I'm gonna look at a little bit of the fundamentals in terms of the smaller caps too, as well. Um, Small to mid caps too. Um, yeah, I'm gonna because that's like an industry that I really haven't. I've worked in like venture capitalism in terms of emerging markets, but I have never traded emerging markets before. It's not something that was really in my focus. I've usually traded uh, even more riskier assets, but it's one of those like indexes that I know emerging markets will one day probably lead. I know that's like maybe 20, 30, 40 years down the road, maybe emerging markets lead. Um, so I don't know. I just know there's a huge fucking green buy here. I don't know why people are buying or someone covering. I don't know. But the volume is um, extremely weak, almost sickly weak based on the close. Right? Look at, I mean, just look at this volume here. Like this is this is sad, right? We can just look at these N2 spikes. Like, look at this. Like, this is QQQ, so the volume profile should be somewhat accurate. Like, look at the spikes here. Then fucking look at today, right? Like the last 10, 15 minutes have huge spikes. And look at this one. Like this like so tiny. I mean, we have another 5 minute here, but how much volume's gonna come in here? So I'm not exactly sure that this pop is real. I mean, it's just running on 0 volume. It's like the same pop that happened, let me see, uh, if I remember correctly, this pop, the last 10-minute pop. Remember that one, guys? That was because of one pension fund apparently, a $6 billion bl buy. The liquidity, there is no liquidity. I mean, was coming back down here in the last 3. I think all the rebalancing has actually been filtered out. I just don't think I think that we've created a low point and we're off that low point. So futures, if you're a futures trader, I think we're gonna slowly slink back to that control point. I think the 2 points we're gonna look for in the future is that opening minute here, the opening minute that occurred today, and also the low of the day today. So those are my 2 control points if I were to trade futures. And I have a feeling it wants to migrate down rather than up. Look, it's even created a bear flag for us on the 5 minute. I mean, it's only a 5 minute bear flag, but look at this other 5 minute bear flag. It did a very good job of predicting where the price would go. Although we didn't hit 180 and we just bounced off 181, that's okay because essentially the market rebalance came in. I fully intend to hit that 180 target tomorrow. And if we don't hit 180 tomorrow, I don't think it will be hit. And that being said, I still think this will go. Even if we have a significant bounce tomorrow, it's gonna fade. I'm fading every single pop. I'm fading every single one, but I'm gonna have stop losses. 'Cause I'm not gonna let it run if it's gonna blow out and go 5% high side. I don't want to deal with that shit. So nothing crazy here. We're not buying any puts or calls. As a matter of fact, write some calls. If you want to write some calls, write both puts and calls. Right. Premiums are pretty expensive these days, so the mathematical chance of selling it out of the money call or put, and it actually going there and them profiting based on how much they paid for it, close to zero. So, you know what? I'll be like, oh, I'll sell you. I'll sell calls at 207, 207.50 for SPY. So, sell 10 contracts, make $1,000 probably. I don't know. I have no idea how much those contracts are. RW, you know how to play the game. You know how to play the game. Respect. I mean, that's the easiest way in this market. You can just fucking sell shit and don't even have to take that much of a risk if you don't want to. Even if you don't hedge, right? You can sell puts. You say, "I'll buy Disney at this price. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. I'll sell puts." If it doesn't go there, they don't execute. You don't. If they execute, you get the shares. It's not gonna like the stock markets go to zero and you have to pay like unlimited losses, right? Covered with cash. Um, you can use that cash to buy anyways. Look on the chart to see where a good opening is, sell that fucking put, and people are gonna chase it, especially when the market starts coming down now. Those puts are gonna get extremely it's because of these people buying one contract at a time, two contracts, right? And they're expecting, their $100 gain to turn into like $10,000. It's not gonna happen, right? The chance of that not happening, I'll bet against every time. All right, guys. So end of the day, significantly down, and all across all markets. I'm looking at the features right now, and I'll give you a brief rundown of the numbers. So it looks like the S&P 500 closed down 4.3%, Dow 4.4%, almost 1,000 points down for the Dow. Um, and the futures, they're still dropping here as the day goes day ends. Uh, I mean, we had a pretty good successful day. Um, um, Everything that we thought was going to happen, at least what I thought was, happened. We had a nice, bullish buy, and then essentially just faded to the downside. Um, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe I'll jump up a little later or earlier. But I'm definitely not starting at 9:30. That's too early for me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm in Los Angeles right now. But if you like today's video, give me shoot me a like. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll build this up. This is my first week back, really. So I'll try to have funsies here put in. I'll try to have a lot more trades going on, and hopefully, get this community back together as it was 3 years ago. I'll see you guys later.